This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. We're calling the meeting to order at 8:10.
8:07. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at the clock on the wall.
It's fast.
All right, 8:07. Excuse me. We want to be precise here.
Indeed.
Yes. We do not have a quorum at this time. We are hoping that another board member joins us. As it is that we do not have a quorum, we do not have a vote on the agenda. We'll have to work from it without it being approved. So the first thing is the call to order, which we have already done, and now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
You got a flag in here
We
yet?
don't have a flag, we'll take that on faith.
John's got a corner of a flag behind you.
There you go.
That's
Come
right.
No, the other corner. I spy.
Yeah.
You got one, John?
There we go.
All right.
How's this?
That works.
That works.
Good. I
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
All right.
Thank you,
We
John.
just the adoption of the agenda. We have the minutes were already sent out, and were there, I don't believe there were any changes or anything.
No, but we can't vote to accept them.
We can't vote to accept them because we don't have any. All right, we'll have to table them for now. All right.
Probably just
Okay.
an executive report.
We didn't get there yet.
I figured that was the next thing, because we can't do anything
Well, you
else.
don't have your agenda in front of you.
Public comment.
Yes.
Public.
What do you call our people over
They're
there?
not public, they're a family.
Would anybody like to make a public comment of any kind? Melanie, would you like to tell us how you did?
So yes, I didn't count all the bake sale money, but it was about 200. But the raffle altogether, we sold $1,210 worth of raffle.
Wow.
Our profit was $1,035, and I had said to Mike earlier, he's like, "Well, what's your goal?" I said $1,000. So we
That's wonderful.
Amazing.
And you did-
Excellent.
13 years doing the raffle.
13 years of doing the raffle.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
just want to repeat this so that it's more, people can hear what you're saying between the mask and the fashion, that you're not speaking, facing the camera. That Melanie's raffle raised $1,210. The profit from it was $1,035, and you also made $200 on the bakery sale.
Maybe more.
Wonderful. And doing that for 13 years.
Yeah.
That's
Terrific.
great.
Terrific.
Wonderful job.
And
Yes.
tell us,
Outstanding.
tell us, at that, Alex was amazing. He was really good.
Oh, the cellist.
You were there.
The cellist was excellent. Yes.
He was really good.
Yeah.
So he had emailed me, I emailed him back, and I'd love to have him back again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so lovely to have live music.
Yeah. And everybody walking in the building was like mesmerized. When
Yeah.
they walked in, and they just stopped, and he was really good.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And he did such a variety too.
He did. I recorded several of the pieces.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
good.
did too.
Great.
It was
He did
really
Christmas music. He
nice.
did
He did
Hanukkah music.
and he had a nice little commentary that went
Yep.
along with it, and it was very interesting.
Yes, background on the
Really, yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, when we were drawing the raffle prizes, that I made a push for the building.
Sue told me.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt we had all these people here, and there's hardly room for them to move and to conduct a program and, you know, they should be aware. I said, keep it in your minds. This is what we need.
Yeah. On Saturday there was also the children's program, and they had to rotate the kids in and out of this room because so many had signed up, so we couldn't accommodate everyone at once.
Yeah.
So it was just like a revolving door, which was nice, but it was also, it would have been nice if you could do everyone at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got creative and they put some stuff set up outside. So there were some crafts out here, cookie making in here. So it worked, but it was definitely, you know, they had to get creative.
Challenging.
Yes.
Challenging.
Yes.
So I think the public needs to be reminded that we have plans for the future and that they can see the disparity between what we have here and what other communities around us have in terms of places to meet. We
Yeah.
have none really.
Right.
So that's my public comment. All right, director's report.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'll do some highlights, and then if you have any questions, I will take your questions. Just want to start with our total number of card holders is 8,592. Our community rooms were very busy. Room A was reserved 45 times. Room B was reserved 39 times. And those were official reservations on the calendar, not the people who walk in just when the room happens to be open.
Yeah.
So these rooms are very popular.
And I think that's another selling point too. that
Absolutely.
We need to emphasize that there is a crying need in this community for spaces for people
To meet. Yes. Well, I had previously shared that the village mayor was very surprised about the meeting rooms and all the different ways people are using them. Interviews, test taking, studying. It's just really exciting how many
Yes.
people are using them. So the numbers, these were pretty high numbers for December. Year of the Arts continues. November, the children's programs were very well attended. The cookbooks have arrived. So our MFL cookbook is here. We have one copy for to be circulated, so it will go into our collection. The other copies are first come, first serve, so our community members will come. We had 2 non-board and staff members submit recipes, so we put copies aside for them. So they got their copies. So we're very excited. I appreciate all of the staff members that contributed and all the board members that contributed. It
How
was
can
really
I get a copy of it?
First come, first serve.
first come, first serve.
Don't
But
flight.
it'll also be in the collection, so you can check out a copy.
Oh, boo-hoo, I want my own copy.
We can order more, so it exists. So I can order a copy. I just don't know how many. We could only order a certain number within our budget.
So, you're not charging for them?
No, this is
wow.
for the community.
Oh, so I guess the board can't have first shot. Because
Oh, I assumed we were gonna pay for them.
No,
I
no,
I thought it was like part of a fundraiser.
no. This is part of the Year of the Arts program.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
How many did we print?
We printed 15. There is also a PDF version that we're going to circulate as well. So we'll have that
Okay.
available online. Yeah.
Okay.
The Village of Monroe received our email blast about all of our December Year of the Art programs, and they asked us if they could share it. So that was really nice collaborative effort on their part.
Was that the village or
That
the
was the village. Yes.
Yes.
They Yes. We also found out that I had forwarded this to librarians at the school district and teachers and the assistant superintendent for curriculum. And apparently it did trickle down to the teachers because we had a few people come in and say, it was in my Google Classroom. So it is getting to the students. So that was exciting that this information is getting circulated. We already talked about the snowflake raffle in the boutique. I just want to thank Melanie again for all of her hard work, and Elizabeth for all of the ads and the marketing for that. That was great, and all of the staff for pushing the tickets. It's a little unnerving, like Melanie's talked about before, to constantly ask people at the desk, would you like to buy a ticket? And they did a stellar job.
Who won the raffle?
Who won the raffle?
So, Lisa, I have it on my phone.
Oh yeah, let me see. I think.
Kaziza, I don't know how to say it. And Mary Solitero, something like that. Yeah.
Mary,
Sorry if you're listening.
Mary Lataro and Lisa Kaziza.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Lisa name looks familiar. They're both
Oh, they're both
patrons.
in here all the time.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
right, that's what we said when I drew the tickets, that it was
Mhm.
nice that it was people whose names were familiar to the staff.
Yeah, yeah, it is nice. So then a few things just in terms of outreach I wanted to highlight. We did go to North Main at the end of November to distribute library cards to third graders. We distributed 55 Monroe Free Library cards and 22 Chester cards. So Chester couldn't be there, but Chester agreed to issue cards and mail them to the students. So that was really good. That went really smoothly. I also had a meeting with the assistant superintendent, Eric Hassler, and he was really great. He's apparently a library supporter. His home library is Chester, but he uses Monroe Free Library a lot. And I talked to him about, wanting to share more information and collaborate more and to raise awareness. And he said, just keep sending me documents and I'll trickle it down to the principals. I also talked about how to get cards to students quicker. So one of the attachments that I shared was the data privacy agreement. I looked through it. I don't see a problem with us signing it. Basically, it's basically agreeing that we won't use this data for any other purpose than card distribution. And how we think it would work is at kindergarten, the whole grade would get issued a card. At second grade, if we missed anybody, they would get issued a card at sixth grade and then at ninth grade. And so eventually it'll be just at kindergarten, and then the second grade, sixth grade, ninth grade will be the people that maybe transferred in or whatever the case may be. And the parents will have to, instead of opting in, they'll opt out. So one of the challenges that we've been dealing with this, the way we're doing the system, is that sometimes the forms are incomplete. Sometimes the parents forget to do it. So this way, we're getting the data right from the school district. So I told him I would share this with the board, and then we'll talk about next steps on how to actually execute this. So I already talked to Woodbury Public Library. They seemed okay with the idea as well. Obviously, Chester would have to be on board to make it really run smoothly. So we'll see. So it's first steps, but it's a more systematic
Big
approach.
steps,
Yeah.
Is there,
huge steps.
and I'm sure it's been discussed either internally or amongst people before, but is there any concern with issuing cards to kids without their parents' consent?
Well, the parents would be notified that this is happening, but they would have to opt out. So they will be notified that, part of enrolling your kid in the school also means your kid will get a public library card.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay, which is awesome, I agree.
right.
I just wanted to make sure that, we're not stepping on a toe, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's quite,
The school board will approve that.
I'm assuming that'll have to go there, but like I said, it's very early stages. This is step one. And then I guess the logistics will get figured out once it gets approved on the school board's end.
Will the library card, the issuance of the library card be accompanied by or followed up with some kind of materials on how to use your library or what your library does for you, so that the card just doesn't just sit, so that hopefully, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so right now what we do is we do provide a little spiel and a demo. Obviously, I don't know how we would execute that at this level. We'd have to figure out, like I said, it's very early stages. We'd have to figure out the logistics of how to do that. I'm thinking it might be a staggered approach where maybe we do kindergarten cards in the fall, and then maybe the middle grades in the winter, and then, you know, the high schoolers in the spring, because this is a larger project than what we've been doing, and I don't want to overwhelm the staff. But yeah, I would definitely want to somehow accompany it with what your card gives you access to.
I would like to suggest down the line,
Mhm.
a YouTube video, probably oriented to kindergartners and
Mhm.
their parents,
Right, right.
so that that would save paper, and that anybody could go online and they could see this, and they could get this information. It
Yeah.
would take some effort to execute, and I'm sure Elizabeth can probably be helpful with that. And it would take a considerable amount of planning, and I would say testing, you know, but it doesn't cost anything to put it on YouTube.
No, instructional videos is definitely in my wheelhouse. That's what I used to do prior to being here. So I definitely wouldn't have any trouble executing something like that.
And
think
well,
that
okay, so I think, you know, I think it could be a great thing to do, and maybe down the line it could be done in Spanish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I just had a thought, and I haven't even, it just came to my head. You know, when people come in and apply for a library card with their children, they're signing, well, we don't keep them, but they're signing, and we put in the computer the guardian or parent name, so that if a child loses something, they realize they are responsible
Yes.
to take care of that loss and replace the material. That's something I think that we should think about a little bit more, because right now, the way they're doing it, the parents are basically giving us the information. So we know that they know.
Right, right.
But if we do it a different way and we're getting it through the school district, we might want to have some sort of consent form or some sort of form that makes sure that they know they're liable for anything that the kids borrow on their library card.
Right.
Who was that speaking?
Melanie.
Okay, I agree. I agree with that enormously, for the additional reason of my concern, and this is, there's been at least an incident of this in another district, of parents objecting to materials, and by having that form, if the parents don't want their, you know, they didn't realize that they opted in, that I think it's an extra layer of protection for the library against parent complaining about materials that are available.
Yes.
Could that be something that when they've been the first time to use their card, there's something in our system that alerts you that this is the first time checkout?
Maybe.
Like you get signed up but not activated.
Yeah,
or something.
right.
Can you hear that record that's saying this card was issued
Yes.
via the school district?
So this
You
way
know,
there's
I'm
something
sure
in
we
front
could
of you.
come up with
Yeah,
something.
there's some
Yeah.
Great idea.
checkpoint that we
Right.
can come up with. I'm also thinking that maybe this happens at like kindergarten registration or second grade. I don't know what they do when they go from school to school to school, but that's like a point where I know that the parents will be there, you know, where it's like an orientation kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Kindergarten, when you go for the kindergarten orientation, it's kind of a testing. They do speech and
Yeah,
that type of thing.
yeah.
I don't know if they would allow it. Maybe.
I know Woodbury had said that they had been at kindergarten registration once or twice before. So that could be something. Again, this is very early stages. There's a lot of logistics to work out, but I think this is step one. Accepting this form, saying that we'll sign this, we agree to your privacy practices, you know.
And the thing I wanted to comment on there was that libraries do not give out information about patrons, what they borrow.
Right.
Anything like that.
Right.
People have gone
Oh yeah.
to the mats for that
Yes,
principle.
absolutely.
So there shouldn't be any issues with us agreeing to any of that.
No.
But I can foresee.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. So I just wanted to share that with
Well,
progress.
I think that's very
Yeah.
exciting.
And then just a few other things we talked about. I told him that our interest in purchasing assistive technologies, and he put me in touch with his assistive technology team. We had to reschedule the meeting, but he said definitely talk to them so they can give us some insight on trends that they're seeing in the district to help us figure out, what kind of direction we should be going in. Also, I talked to him about Year of the Arts, and he said he could connect me with specific teachers to, promote the resources. I also talked to him. I talked to him a lot about helping our youth patrons that age out of the children's side and have to go to the adult side, how that could be overwhelming and how sometimes we see a drop off there. And he said that they are currently at the high school offering this class called personal finance and personal management. And there might be a place for us to kind of talk about, using the library, once you're an adult, and how the library can support you, So we'll see. So it was all good, great conversations.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah,
What does YOTA mean?
Year of the Arts.
Done.
Okay. I also wanted to point out that I am officially, I guess, certified to provide continuing education to the board. In 2023, every board member will be required to do 2 hours of continuing education on top of the sexual harassment training. So what I did with the RCLS's continuing education committee is we trained the directors. We developed these modules, and then we went and we trained the directors, and now they can go do it. And the idea is that to do it within a board meeting or like 30 minutes prior to. So I could do, it's the way the modules are set up are 30-minute like sessions. So I could do 4 sessions in a year, and you guys are good, you have your 2 hours, or I can do, an hour-long session. It's however you guys want to do it. So I leave it up to you guys. I know some of you have a little bit more flexibility, whereas this might kind of force you to get that training in that you need in order to stay a trustee. So whenever you guys are ready, if you're interested, there's the 5 modules: orientation, legal, finance, 7 habits of an effective board member, and advocacy and planning.
They be attended via Zoom.
They can be done via Zoom. So again, it could be a separate time. It doesn't necessarily have to be around a board meeting, but the idea is you're already coming anyways. Maybe you can come and spare 30 minutes prior to a meeting to participate. But it's totally up to you guys. If you wanted to do 2 1-hour sessions in the span of a year, you guys would then meet your requirements. So I leave it up to you.
Yeah, well,
Plus sexual harassment.
Plus sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and where do you get the sexual harassment? Did you send
I
out?
did. I
Yeah.
sent out the link. I can resend it.
Would you please?
I can resend it again. Yes.
I'm glad we don't have to do HIPAA training too.
Oh, yeah.
That's it for my report. Any questions?
I have a comment. Amanda, I think that you are doing a really, truly amazing job with working with the schools and trying to get some of the people in charge of the community involved. But I really commend what you're doing. I'm very impressed by your energy.
Thank you. I think it's a great connection to have. I think it's an important collaboration. It's a great way to reach a lot of people, a lot of community members. So we're trying to make inroads. It's really a team effort. And I think we're all really trying to make that inroads. And so far we're doing good. I think so.
I find it to be hugely important because my impression has been for a long time that in our local schools, sports are much more important than anything else. And I think, it might take a long time, but I think that you'll be able to make inroads on that, and that perhaps intellect will be valued a little bit more.
I
Yeah.
have to totally agree with Netta. As a former school librarian, I think it's phenomenal the way that you've gotten into the schools, because as I have said before, so much of it depends on the people in the schools
Yeah.
as well as the librarian
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
district. And once you establish that relationship and you've got something to build on, you can do phenomenal things. But what you've done in, say, a year and a half is incredible. And I applaud your efforts just as much as, and it's
I did just
exciting.
think of something with when the kid, and I really, it's hard for me because I had so much training as a salesperson. I'm comfortable just coming right out and asking people, wouldn't you like to think about this? Would you like to do that? And you guys are not me, but when the parents are bringing the kids in, I think it's worth asking the parents if they are interested in, do they have a library card for themselves? And is there anything that we can tell them about what the library can do for them? Because you're doing a great job of putting it out there. But I think through the kids is how the message is going to come across in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, the staff does do that. It is happening. It doesn't always happen. It's a vibe. You can tell when a patron has some time, when a patron's interested in engaging. So you definitely have to feel them out. But I know it is happening at the desk and during programs too.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And Amanda, I feel that it's important
You're
to
muted,
get them while they're
Jonathan.
young, which is why
I
it's
can
great
hear
what you're
him.
doing. Because I can remember when I was a little itty bitty boy, only just a few years ago.
Last week.
Yes, Grandpa.
At least mentally. My mother would come home with books, and that encouraged a lifelong love of books.
Me too.
So getting them while they're young is important.
Absolutely.
Well, some libraries give out family cards, I'm sure, but we don't. And
No.
one of the reasons is because we feel it's important that every individual has their own library card.
Yeah.
I
think
agree.
so.
Especially at the kids level, it
Right.
gives a
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of individualism,
Yeah.
ownership,
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
like to
Mhm.
show the card.
Yeah, they like to use their card at the desk. It's more exciting.
They get a special book
They can
clip.
keep it in
and-
their own
Mhm.
wallet.
Yeah.
Special thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It definitely is.
absolutely. Okay.
Isn't it wonderful how we all love libraries?
Yeah.
But I'm when you're talking, I'm feeling that synergy, like the fact that Neil made a point, you got the information up on the village page
Yeah.
and connecting with the schools.
Mhm.
We're kind of feeling it coming together.
Mhm.
We've got ways to go, but
Yes,
still it's happening, and that's very exciting.
I think so. Yep. Oh, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Well, we can't do much else, can we?
I don't think
We
so.
want
I
to
mean,
talk about
I
the,
can, the finances got sent out to everybody. I don't know if anybody had any questions. We can't vote on them, but happy to field any answers if anybody had any questions.
yeah, what are the red marks?
Every time.
So as always, in the far left column, that's the in the month. The bottom is always going to be red because we get our money at the beginning of the year. So in the month,
I have a husband who has a finance degree, you
I
think I'd ask.
listen, it's always good to have a refresher for everyone else out there in TV land. Because our revenues come in at the beginning of the year, usually like February is when we receive our check. Every other month, you're seeing what our operating expenses are net of the income in that month. So whereas next month we'll probably have, the $1,200 that Melanie garnered as income to offset the $130,000 we will likely spend in the month, $120,000. So based on our current run rate, burn rate, we will likely end the year with a surplus.
Good,
So which is great because that helps us,
build.
build and there's also a difference between physical cash ending balances and end of year financial balances from a from an asset sheet perspective, because there's going to be depreciation expenses, other year-end adjustments that take place that will bring down the overall. But from a cash perspective and what we get to keep and put towards the new building and our war chest and projects that we want to do, that we're in good. We are in good, healthy shape.
That's all we need to know. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer.
So that also gets tabled.
Table. Yes, it
We're not
does.
tabling anything because the meeting's not happening technically, because we're not in active business. But yeah, no.
But it's always productive anyway. The last time we did this, it's just good to keep ourselves connected.
Yeah.
All right, so then we can go to the reports of the standing committees, and Diane, what have you got to report?
Well, because December meeting was supposed to put forth the slate of candidates. I don't know technically what that's gonna mean now, since we don't
Well, all you
vote
have
on
to
that,
do
right?
is, you're just saying who's gonna run, so.
So our executive board has graciously said that they will go run again. Casey is treasurer, Pat is president, Carol is vice
And again, if anybody else wants it, please
No.
come knock me off the horse.
I said gracious. So that is the official slate of candidates that we have to vote on the annual meeting.
Right, which is in January.
And then I did send a notice to those people whose terms were expiring. John, did you get that? Did you know your term was expiring?
Yes, I got the email. I
Okay.
responded and said, put my name in nomination.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
And you did respond?
I don't know if I
Okay,
responded.
yeah, I don't know, because I did it this afternoon, so I didn't.
I'm here.
forget.
I'm good.
And Susan was the other one.
I don't understand.
Wait,
I-
hold on a second. Casey.
What
you
about
go.
me?
I guess the term that you are fulfilling is a term that ended in December 2023, according to this trustee chart. I was relying on. Because you're fulfilling a term. I don't remember whose term. Somebody else's.
I don't remember
It
either.
might have been
Oh.
John's,
Might have
right?
been
Yeah.
John's or
Yeah.
Gil's.
Or no, I think Susan. No,
Well,
I don't know.
maybe because skills was supposed to end December of 2022.
right?
Technically, because we have an
But
open
everybody
seat at
was
the time,
on the
you can't say
board.
that any one person backfilled a specific person because it was a rotating spot.
Right, but everyone was on the board. Right,
Yeah.
Gil's spot is empty, right?
And what about our candidate?
Mirinda?
Yeah.
I
Haven't
What-
heard from her.
emailed her again
Uh-huh.
last week, because I know she had said that there was some
Family,
issues
yeah.
going, and I did not call her.
Okay.
So I suppose I should, or I should ask the pool too, since she volunteered to. But that's as far as we got. So
Well, let's ask
Well-
Nicola. Did you have a chance to call her,
I
Nicola?
didn't give it a number.
Oh,
No.
all right. Well, we know who's in trouble
But
there.
Susan Tabasky is also, excuse me, her term is ending, and I didn't hear back from her. I'm sure I will, but I didn't. And Teresa is also expiring at the end of this year. So,
I'm on the fence.
jump our way.
I'm on the fence. I will let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you contributed an awful lot. You've said that, I've said that to you before.
So maybe you should back up.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, I mean, if that, if you're feeling it, rather than just
But you're doing a lot too right now.
not with your efficiency.
Mm-mm.
But, so we should all try and persuade her
Yeah.
without begging her.
There are committees that don't have chairs.
Yeah,
I mean, board members that aren't chairs of any committee. So
and so you would like that?
that's your job.
Yeah. Well, I have the list here and I will send it out and people can look it over and decide where they could fit in. We're back to fundraising with nothing and that's my responsibility because I lose track of it, but Les Terry's public relations, Diane's nominating, Nikula's long-range planning, Carol's library operating, grants is Diane, fundraising is up in the air, Casey's finance, bylaws is Terry. So Terry's got 2 chairs, Nikula's got 1. Building and grounds is Casey.
No, it's Susan now.
Oh, it's Susan, okay, that changed,
No,
okay.
I'm audit and finance.
Mhm.
Okay, yes, and I have you for audit too. All right, so I'll send this out and everybody can look at it and see if they want to change anything. But everybody's working hard on a lot of different projects.
Yeah.
And I really feel like we're getting a lot accomplished. It may not be, what shall I say? It's not showy, but it's in the background, things that are being worked on and accomplished without a lot of fanfare, she said. So next, buildings and grounds, that's Susan, so we don't have any report on that. Bylaws, Terry's got her changes here that she'd like us to vote on, right, Terry?
Well, we can't
Yeah.
vote.
Oh, we can't vote.
And I was gonna make a motion on these for discussion, but maybe that should wait too until next time.
Well, you don't have to make a motion if we don't have a quorum.
No, I can't, I'm not going to. But, if anybody has read them and looked them over, and if you have any comments, please let me know.
I do. First of all, I think you did a beautiful presentation on comparing the suggested changes to the existing. I know for a fact that doing that kind of thing in Word is a pain in the neck, and that I'm sure it was a lot of work. I would like to suggest a slight wording change. In section 5, where at the end of the first paragraph, so where it's saying the original should be given to the executive director for keeping permanent hard copy and online files, I'd like to suggest it be changed to the original should be given to the executive director to maintain as a permanent hard copy and in an online file.
Where can you elucidate where that?
The bottom of the first paragraph in Article 4, Section 5, recording secretary.
Yeah,
That's very wordy. This was Diane's change that she wanted to make to clarify things,
so where, I've got under meetings and then quorum, section 5, right? Oh, I thought you said section 5.
Well, it is Article 4, Section 5.
Okay, all right, missed that, sorry about that. So you want to change it, what's your wording, Netta, upon
So-
acceptance?
It's the last sentence, yeah. The original should be given to the executive director to maintain as a permanent hard copy and in an online file.
I think that, I think that really does read better, it scans better.
it's a clarification.
Yeah, the original should be given to the executive director as a
To-
permanent.
No, to maintain as a permanent hard copy
I got it.
and in an online file.
Diane.
I don't see much of a difference, so, maintaining and keeping.
I think it's a matter of,
Well, in the discussion, what came up was the need to do both, because back in the day, we only had the hard copies, and then we went to only keeping online files, and the committee felt it's important to have a hard copy available in case somebody comes in, wants to see
Right,
something.
yeah.
So like, the old monks scribing them, I have to.
And I'm suggesting that the same change in section 6, B.
I think it's just a matter of maybe a more, what's a professional sounding statement? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
To
Yes.
maintain, it's not changing the essence, it's just changing.
I
The way it's
think, yeah, I think it just sounds a little better. It's the same thing, but I think it's a little stronger.
Okay. We can't vote on it, so
Yeah,
thank you for your input on that. We wrote it down.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you could send that in an email to everybody so we have the wording as you think it should be. Netta?
Yeah, and also, in section 5 quorum, under new section 6 video conferencing, I think that New York State should be spelled out.
Yeah, okay.
So they're just, for me, that's just clarity. I certainly think that an excellent job was done with this. And like I said, I'm sure that doing this way had to be a pain in the neck. A lot of work.
Yeah, now this is an example of the kind of work that's put in behind the scenes. Time consuming, your meetings.
Just seems easy to me.
That's the
Well, when
talent
you're
you
being
bring to the table.
complimented,
Yeah.
thank you, don't,
Thank you.
don't gainsay it. So we
I
have
have-
to put it aside till the next meeting. Hi, John?
I have one comment, and I'm gonna be a smart aleck, so sorry, Netta. But instead of maintained, how about held?
Held.
I think a 1-syllable word is better than a 3-syllable word anytime.
I agree.
All right, so we're gonna change it to held now.
To hold.
I do like that. But I think I wasn't comfortable with keeping. But I think held is excellent.
All right,
So I'm gonna change mine so that I can send the comment back.
Great.
okay, good.
Thank you.
No, now make John do it.
That's it. Anybody else?
Of course, you have to say to be held.
Right,
All right.
well,
Let me know when you decide.
I don't know.
Think
Call
about
me at
it.
home when you figure
Talk
it
among
out.
yourselves.
I have to pull out my strong and white.
That's it for bylaws.
All right, that's it for bylaws. Finance.
Nothing to report. Did you have a chance to meet with Chip or no?
Tomorrow, he's coming tomorrow.
Perfect. So,
Who's coming?
the gentleman from Prudential, about what we talked about last month with moving some of the money that we currently have just sitting in our money market account into a high interest yield CD.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, fundraising, nothing. Grants,
Okay.
all right. Library operating,
I guess I wanted to ask Amanda what her next priority for us would be to work on as a committee. We finished the harassment, so like what?
Well, we still need to vote on the internet policy. It
Okay.
never got voted on.
Oh, okay.
And I still need a finalized copy of the harassment to share with the staff.
But is there one that we should be like?
I can
looking at
look,
in the
I can
upper-
look
okay.
again
Okay,
and see
great.
which ones I would recommend.
Okay, great.
and everybody had, except you, finished your evaluation of the director.
Oh, I never did it?
No.
Okay, I'll do it.
Oh,
I'll do it.
Like
I
the
have been-
email case.
I didn't even get a chance to do warrants this month. I have been so
I
incredibly busy.
I know, that's why I have a bunch of.
So we're on a September 30th year end. So October, November, and into December is the busy time of year. So whereas, on a 12/30 year-end client, you have, the week leading up to the end of the year, and then all of January and all of February. Usually everyone's slammed until they file. It's shifted to these months now. So it has literally been at the desk round the clock all week. So I'm sure there's a lot of emails I haven't gotten to that no one's seen a response to. So I apologize. I think I responded to Mary and Amanda over the weekend at like 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. I'm just getting it in where I can, so I apologize if it's I will.
All right, if you do that, then we can set up a meeting and hopefully we can get it done before the beginning of the year. If you do that, then I'm behind too because I've been caught up in things. So if we get all that, I can compile it and we can come in and
incentivize me, bribe me with something from Melanie's Bake Sale.
There's a whole basket out there.
Oh, you don't think I saw that?
Some nice sugar cookies.
Okay.
Being recorded, I think that was attempted.
Oh, what's that? Not for internally driven. This is not vendor related. This is good.
All right, Nicola.
Yes. I had to think because we met with Jim Kovac after the last meeting. Yeah. So when was that? November 17th, we had Jim Kovac coming from Charlottesville, Virginia, and met in the library to talk about options and his vision and all of that. And he seemed very knowledgeable, and I believe it was a great discussion. He did talk about a master plan, right? And gave us throughout a scary number, right? Throughout 120,000 to do a master plan where he could do focus groups and he could come up with 3 to 5 options on different things for the library. And, it was very scary. And he's actually called, I was telling Amanda, he's called pretty regularly, at least once a week, and checking in via email as well, because he very much wants to work with the library. He wanted me to reiterate that number was incredibly flexible, that he wouldn't have to do 3 to 5 options in the master plan. He could do 1 to 2. He could change the length of time that he works on it. He could get the number to something that we felt more comfortable with, but it was still going to be a number. He said he's going to be in the area for New City in January and would be willing to come to a meeting, a board meeting, to answer additional questions about that if people were interested in him clarifying things a little bit or had other questions for people who weren't able to talk with him. I don't know if people are interested in him coming in person or him being available via Zoom, if there's even an interest with additional questions for him.
Well, he was impressive. Yeah.
He was very passionate. He loves libraries. He does libraries. That's his wheelhouse.
Okay.
That number is very scary.
So he'd like to talk about that. I'd love to ask more questions about that number because I'd love for him to be a part of this, but not with that number. So if he can explain and talk about the flexibility of it and what it means, I want to hear that.
I'd also like to know what of his report will be leverageable towards the ultimate construction, because if that's going to be on top of architectural designs, on top of permit designs, on top of, you know what I'm saying?
That's all on top of. So when we spoke with him, we said the next steps would be then for us to hire an architect. Not necessarily, we wouldn't have to use him. He said we could take that master plan and go hire somebody else to do the drawings. So to me, they sounded like 2 very separate things.
It's just helping to conceptualize the library.
I would have really loved to see a breakdown, like a proposal, like this is what a master plan costs, and this is what each thing, like an itemized list. I want to see how much of it is travel costs, because they are coming from Virginia. You know what I mean? That's
a major point.
that could be a big part of it too.
as
And also-
opposed to somebody local who you,
I'd also like, just from a comparison perspective, if we were to come with our own, I'm gonna not, say master plan the way he probably has everything mapped out.
Yeah.
But if we came with our list of, community driven wants and needs and went directly to an architect, what would they be able to conceptualize for us? Based on just their job as an architect. It's not just the, oh, well, you need a truss here and you need an arch here. It's
Yeah.
also, okay, well, this is how to make a room in an area functional.
Yeah.
And that's expertise that they bring to the table as well.
That's kind of where we were at with Robert.
Mhm.
He asked us for a list of a wish list, and that's where all of our vision list came from.
right,
And
Right.
right to him.
Do you want to tell everybody about the second?
Yeah, so on the
Architect
29th,
work?
we met with the architect that Terry had put us into contact with via Zoom, and he was able to kind of talk about structures and wanting a wish list from us on, I guess what spaces we wanted larger, we wanted available, just to kind of clarify things for him so they knew what their next steps would be, and they want to come in and do an in-person meeting as well. I think we're trying to coordinate that. I think there's some issues with the date. I did email him twice, Terry, but I haven't really heard back. I'm sure they're incredibly busy right now. Have you heard anything from him?
I haven't. I can call him if you want me to.
Yeah, I think the last contact was just that this December 16th wasn't going to work. And that Friday morning wasn't going to work for me. And I think Amanda had said that she was going to be out that day as well.
Yeah.
And I had sent that email to him about if he was flexible for meeting earlier in the week, or earlier in a week. It doesn't have to be that specific week. But I mean, they gave us a lot of information as well. And they are, it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they are, a team that can actually draft architectural plans and have local contractors come in and do what they do. He was excited that we actually had the lot next door as opposed to having to just work with the space that we have. To build. I'm sorry?
no, I was just agreeing, yeah.
Oh yeah, to build. The difference I think was just, no, one of the differences is that Jim, like I said, he eats, breathes, libraries was his thing. So he thinks about spaces in terms of libraries and communities, whereas, it seems to me like with Robert, you're going to get something that's affordable, and it's going to be the way he sounded. It was, things are doable, and
Nicole, as you're talking, I'm thinking like the practical and the idealistic
Right,
almost.
right, yeah.
there are definitely
The room, but at the end of the day,
Yeah, right. You're
it's
gonna.
a room, it's a room.
Right.
they're definitely at two different ends of the spectrum.
That's what I'm telling you.
I think
What was that,
it,
Nicola?
it sounds to me like we're in a position where we're saying we want a bigger, better library, but we don't have any specifics. And I think we had talked before about possibly having some focus groups with the community. And as I'm saying this, we might want to see if we can involve some town officials to come up with some more specific ideas of what we want. Because like one of the things I thought about is if we enlarge the library, what are we going to do about parking? So I think we need to create more focus to a want list, so to speak, and that maybe that should come from community members,
Right.
and the library staff, because the library staff have a very good idea of things like
the children's program where you didn't have enough room to accommodate everybody. And the usage of the rooms, which, there is no, I mean, what are you gonna do? Meet somebody at Starbucks? Do we have a Starbucks? We don't have a Starbucks.
Target.
In Target.
And
yeah.
I actually had somebody conduct a job interview with me in a Starbucks once.
Mm. Crazy.
Well, the thing of it is, I could see with Mary, with her wish list kind of,
Yeah.
she had specifics that hadn't occurred to me at all.
Right.
Like the flex walls, I think was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had talked about that.
Yeah.
So just for context, right now where we stand is Nikula, Terry, Pat, myself, and Mary all put together a wish list of things that we'd like to see in the existing building, things we'd like to see in a new building, and then some outdoor space ideas. And I compiled all of that together for the second architects that we had met with, so they get a better understanding of what we're looking for. But I think it needs to be a larger conversation. I think the rest of the board needs to provide feedback. Obviously, the staff needs to be involved. The thing about this is that we did do a little bit of this when we did the long range plan focus groups and when we did the survey, so we did get some community feedback. I think we should get more community feedback. And I think that's what is part of what Jim said he would do. They would do these focus groups and surveys that would draw the community in, and they would compile all of that for us. I don't know if we really need to pay them to do that. I think we're capable of doing that. So I think that's the first natural step. I mean, I think they can both be happening at the same time, but I think we need to get the rest of the feedback from the staff and the board.
With regard also.
I also think that having focus groups would be an opportunity to invite people to become friends of the library.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
One other thing to consider, and again, this is one of those, you get what you pay for,
Right.
but with regard to the man hours involved with facilitating, aggregating all
Right.
the data,
Yeah.
facilitating the meetings. When I was in college, what companies would come to my university and hire the university as a consulting agency. The university would assign essentially a real world customer problem to the class, and the class would be broken up into their teams, and each team would have to come up with a presentation to address the problem. What ended up happening was the customer got 5 presentations for the price that they were paying, and then the students were getting real life practical experience and hands-on work. We may be, and I'm not saying, let's go to a university and hire them or anything like that, but I am saying there might be college students in the area that need internship hours, or they need, real world practical cases for data aggregation and survey application, and whatever it is, we may be able to just get people, because right now every employer wants someone with 10 years of experience, but want to, no jobs,
Right.
no years in the actual field. So this might be an opportunity, from a data aggregation perspective.
What about, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's a daunting task, and we need lots and lots of information, but, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
And in a project like this, we
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think there's lots of expertise on almost every level of government here in Monroe Village. Town.
Yeah.
They all have engineers, they
Yes.
all have people, and there are certain codes and
Right.
things that we
Yeah.
have to know about.
Yeah.
So
Well
like I
said.
said, it's just, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
gotta find out.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right.
I
Right.
just more so meant with regard to facilitating rather than spending an entire person's year's salary or 2 people's year's salary to have someone go out into the community to ask questions and have meetings.
Yeah.
We can either do that, amongst the staff, or we can get someone to help run that.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. Before we move forward or even
Yeah.
engage an architect, that architect either needs to know those things and what those
Right.
codes and things are.
We need to know what we can and cannot do
Right.
Yeah.
before, because some of our suggestions are to go up 1 floor. Can we even do that? How big of a building can we have next door? What kind of building are we allowed to have next door? How much of our property are we allowed to put a building on, you know? So
What are
there's
the-
a
what are
lot
the
of,
easements have to be,
right, there are a
right?
lot of questions that need to be answered.
What does the plumbing have
Right,
to look like?
that would be,
There's-
how many bathrooms do we need next
Yeah.
door, you know?
Was that
the architect.
Right.
The other thing he brought
Yeah.
up was the mechanical aspect of.
Yeah.
Robert talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
And about solar power.
Right.
Yeah, which would be terrific.
I gotta tell you, solar was something that Charlie was pushing for.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
in
he
the
was.
past.
Yeah.
There is a cost associated
Oh,
with it, but when you're doing new construction,
Yeah.
it's something that might be long-term sustainable as you're
Yeah.
building it into the existing. new
Right.
I think it's a great selling point too, if you can say to the community
Right.
that we're gonna save you money in the long run, we're going green.
Or by becoming a solar farm to offset
Right.
some of
Yeah.
the community's costs, yeah.
Yeah, and Robert was talking about a solarium, which would have some of those capabilities, right?
Yeah.
The notion about going green, and this, again, this is, we can play partisan politics all you want, but the notion and the expense associated with the
Yes.
notion don't always align.
No.
And it sounds great
In
over
theory,
here, but
right?
to get a 10 foot by 10 foot cost you 15 grand,
Yeah.
you know, all of a sudden,
Yeah, well, those are the things you have to explore. It's
Right.
like Diane says,
absolutely.
we don't know
100%,
what we don't know.
Right.
And,
Right.
and lead certification is always a big selling point, especially if you
Yeah.
can make it efficient.
Yeah.
Mary?
No, I was just going to add, I think we need to think about what we need versus what we want.
Right,
It's
absolutely.
important to meet the needs versus our
Yeah.
wide wish list.
Then
Right.
we can go
We
for
have to
the
focus.
wants.
I think it's simple. I think if you were to look at the list of what we've put together, you can see some of the wants versus some of the needs.
Yeah.
I mean, we all agree we need a bigger programming meeting space. We all agree that's a need, not a want,
Right.
you know?
Yep.
There are some things that would be wants that, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know, we'll survive. We'll still have an improvement. I think this is a good first step. I think we've learned a lot so far. I also think that we need to engage with more architects
Yeah,
and find someone middle of the road. Right now, like Nicola said, it's really ends of the spectrum experiences, you know, because the other group didn't even talk anything about concept plan, master plan, anything like that. It was just like, all right, tell us what you want. Not like, oh, we're gonna do all this research for you, you know? So it was very different.
The last project, we didn't do any kind of master plan. We just jumped in, this is what we want, this is what we need. And I think that that's a very important step to work through with a professional. Yeah, because here we are, 7 years later, and we've outgrown our space. We already had outgrown our space probably 2 years after the project.
I think we outgrew it before we even got in here.
Maybe. And so
Because
I
we
think that
always
step is
needed
very
that
important.
community room and we've never had it.
Right.
The other thing that I would highly suggest, as we do move towards that phase, because you're absolutely right, Mary, about the long-term sustainability of the growth plan.
Yeah.
That was the
But-
mistake the last time.
The other mistake that was made last time was not getting an independent third party to double check the plan.
Yeah.
So what happened was, and I don't want to launch anything or say anything that's out of turn, but for lack of better words, we ended up with offices that had 10 phone jacks in them. We were charged for things that we shouldn't have been charged for, and when we tried to go after the people involved, the company had gone asunder, and there was no one to go after. So I would, I'm sure whoever we engage with, we'll do our vetting and we'll do our due diligence on, but it might also be good to have their work double checked
Yeah,
independently for whatever the cost is going to be. Better to measure twice and cut once.
right.
Right, we have miles of wiring up in here.
Exactly,
That
exactly.
are probably obsolete.
Measure twice and cut once. I haven't heard that in ages.
Yeah. Old but a goodie.
Yep. It still holds true.
Yeah.
Those who plan or fail to plan to, or fail to
you're
plan to fail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, should we have a conversation with the village about what we're thinking and what that would mean in terms of the building code?
I don't
Easier
think
to
we're
ask for
there
forgiveness than
yet.
it is permission.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet, but when I did meet with him a few months ago, it was a conversation and he's like, oh, I'd really like to know what's going on, keep me abreast of the situation, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think when we're there, it would definitely behoove us to have a conversation.
Well, that's what before the
planning board.
Correct.
So we're
Yes.
going
Yeah.
to
Right.
analyze every nail that goes into.
But
every kind of renovation.
I think
We're
even
gonna
a
label it high density housing
pre-conversation,
and they'll look the other way.
I think even a pre-conversation like, hey, this is the stage that we're at, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Is it worth it to have a conversation maybe with New City about their thoughts about engaging in a master plan, being that they paid for it, and I don't know how candid they would be. If it really ended up
That's
being.
not a bad idea.
I think our long range plan, focused on, programming, the building space, it had many different facets, whereas
Yeah.
the master plan is going to focus just on our building.
Yeah.
That's it, and I think that
Right.
we need that, if you're gonna invest a lot of money, I think we should have that versus what was in the long range plan.
yeah,
I
I think,
think the most important thing right now is that we're discussing it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the most important thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to throw the ideas around and just having the discussion makes people focus on it,
Mm-hmm.
think about it.
Right.
It's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
What?
It's a big undertaking.
It's a very big undertaking. And as Diane says, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
A lot of that.
One of
I
my
lived through it, I
favorite Christmas
remember.
movies. Did you ever watch The Bells of St. Mary?
Yes.
I love that.
I love
Yes.
that movie. When Bing Crosby is envisioning the
Yeah.
new school, and Mr. Bogart is, yeah. So we just have to find Mr. Bogart.
There you go.
Why does he bring everything down to earth?
No, Mr. Bogart is actually finally sees the light and gives
Oh.
this building to his
Yeah.
brother.
Oh,
It's the miracle.
I know. It's the Christmas miracle.
we better start praying now. How many novenas does it take?
So I think at this point, it's scheduling with Robert. Terry, I don't know if you want to call, if you want me to send another email.
I'll call him. No
Okay.
problem.
And then in terms of Jim, is there any interest in answering questions via Zoom next board meeting or being present?
Do you think it's too forward of us to ask for a formal proposal of what of what this entails, the master plan and the cost associated? Could we ask him that?
I would certainly think that's appropriate. I mean,
Well,
he's coming up with a big number. I'd like him to, before we say anything about it, you need to know more about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How did he come up with the number?
John?
How did he come up with the number?
Right.
Yeah.
I laugh only because there's a story, I'm sure people have heard it, but there was a massive shipping, like a cargo ship that was stuck in the harbor, couldn't move.
Mhm.
Just nothing they tried, whatever it was, it wouldn't start. So they hire this one mechanic, and the mechanic goes and he walks from one end of the boat to the other, and he looks all around. He goes from the top of the boat to the bottom. He looks all around, and then he walks up to one specific part of the boat and one specific part of the machine. He takes a small hammer and he gives it a tap on the side, and all of a sudden, all the engines fire up. And so he gives them a bill, and it's $300,000, and they go, "You hit it with a hammer. What do you mean it's $300,000?" And he said, "Okay, you want an itemized bill? Hitting it with the hammer, $5. Knowing where to hit." That was the right.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
Right.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
You paid for
Yeah, I mean,
experience?
the hourly rate is definitely a part of it, but it can't be the
Right.
whole lot. Like I said, I think a lot of it is probably gonna be travel costs.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is that worth it for us, you know?
Well, stop it.
You said it was about a 6-month process for that, and that I believe New City, a few years ago was what, $100,000 or something. So
Yeah.
that's why he was throwing that out there. But then when I expressed my concern to him on Monday of last week about it being a big number, he was kind of like, I want the opportunity to show you how flexible I can be with it and the options that can affect that number, and come with any questions, and I can take it, fire, I can be there in person, I can be available via Zoom in January, let me know. So I'm just really,
Plan would be, an overall plan that you could do little by little. You could do one project.
Like a
or
phase.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Phase, as you need it to financially. So that's included in that price, whatever price it comes up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because he said he would offer us up 5 different things, 5 different plans. So it would include things that we are clearly asking for, and then some that we would not have thought of that he would bring to the table with his expertise.
Is
So
that
We're talking about
the,
debating
the
the
porch
debate.
on the
Yeah.
second floor overlooking the pond?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, I'm not
yeah.
against the revenue generating operation.
Right. I just need a breakdown. I need concrete numbers.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Would he do the work without a master plan? I mean, if we did our own master plan, would he?
Do the drawings. If we came to him and say these are the 2 things that we'd like to see or whatever, would he do that? Or is it you only can work with them if they do the master plan? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is we're talking about the importance of experience.
Right.
We look at this space in one way and he comes in and looks at it
Right.
totally differently.
Right.
And that's what'd you say?
All the architects do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You'd want that if you were going to make a master plan. We wouldn't have, most of us, maybe some of us do have the vision to
Right.
rearrange this. I was going to say, do you think it would be worthwhile for you to call the director of New City or somebody over there and ask about their experience and how they started out? And
Sure. I mean, yeah, I don't doubt they're gonna give him stellar reviews. I mean, I felt his energy. I just really I'm just having a hard time with the number.
Yeah, well, I don't, I,
You know, I don't
we all
think.
are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think with,
Yeah. I mean, I'll reach out. I don't have a
you know,
problem
you'll get
reaching
a
out.
feeling for it.
Yeah.
How was he to work with? And I
Right.
think he's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it could also be,
Right.
well, what did he start out with? What kind of
Right.
vision,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Just get
I
a,
could do that. Yeah.
a feeling from somebody else who's worked with him.
Sure.
And that might give you a more concrete
So
feeling.
do we want a concrete breakdown, or do we want to invite him to a meeting? I think that's where you're trying to go with this, Nicola, right?
I recommend that we get the breakdown and then have a meeting to discuss it.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
agree. I agree with John.
that would make the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So we have a plan. We're happy with
So
it
what
right now.
dates do you have in mind for Robert to come?
I don't know. I mean, they offered up a date to.
Yeah, but it didn't work for us. So
Right.
we should maybe counter with a few other dates.
Well, I mean, the following week is the week after Christmas,
Yeah.
so I don't know if maybe we don't do anything till the new year. I don't know what everyone else's
Okay.
plans are. That's the thing.
What about during the day, or during the middle of the week?
Yeah, I mean,
We're here.
I'm-
Yeah, I'm here.
I mean, I am taking some time during the holiday break.
Yeah,
So,
right, but- so we'd like to.
So
get
we
it
work
done before
around
that.
you.
all right, okay, I'll send a few dates to you guys in an email.
Okay.
I know for myself, it's earlier in the week. There might be some
What way?
flexibility.
Not Friday.
Not Fridays though, right?
Like Mondays and Tuesdays are ideal. Wednesday, you might get me early morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean next week I'm pretty much free.
The 20th.
Monday through Thursday. So I'm fine. The 19th to the 22nd, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
I will check
27th
it
is not good for me.
22nd.
7th.
Yeah. Well, maybe if we try and do it
Tuesday
next,
after Christmas.
maybe they can try and come next week between the 19th and the 22nd.
That's what I'm gonna
Doesn't
ask.
matter if it's in December or January. December's always just so busy.
No, we just
Yeah,
kinda
it's
wanna
just
get
a
it
lot
done.
of-
Yeah.
They might not have.
If they
time
can't
either.
Well, if they don't, then we reevaluate for December, for January.
January,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like we're gonna be doing this next year.
Okay. Are we
Just
ready to
being
move on?
realistic as opposed to idealistic.
Understood.
Yeah.
Can we move on?
Yes, we can. We did long-range planning, public
Public
relations.
relations is friends, actually. I've been working with, doing a lot of work on that and calling people and
emailing people. We have, between the board members coming and the public coming, we have 13 people lined up for Wednesday night.
Mhm.
If everybody comes.
Right.
If not everybody can come, that's okay, but at least we have a good solid group of people that are really strongly interested.
Mhm.
And then a few more that can't make it Wednesday, but they're in the wings waiting because they're excited too.
And that's at 6:30, correct?
Yes,
That'll be at 6:30 on Wednesday night.
This Wednesday.
this
Yes.
Wednesday, up front.
Up front.
If my travel plans change, I will be here. Otherwise, I'm going to be in Boston. for
Okay,
Mm.
all right, don't, just, don't
Yeah.
feel like pressure to come, but
Right.
it's fine.
Are we having refreshments or
I can pick some stuff up, sure.
is that all right for you?
No,
Or are you too
no, no, I can do
busy? I can make some more gluten-free cookies.
Okay,
They
that's
didn't
it.
move fast.
That's the only PR that I have.
You'll forward me the Rochelle Marshall stuff.
No, it's Terry. Terry's got the information.
I will forward it to you. I wrote it down.
All right, is that, and the ad hoc committee, Terry and I had talked about, doing something, another staff and board get together.
Mhm.
We thought about doing it next week and then we said there's so much going on. We thought we'd wait until maybe the second week of January.
Have to be the third week. Second week, they usually do computer classes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's okay, third week is all right. because-
Well, I may not be
Yeah,
around.
right.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
if I'll be around or not, so
Right.
whatever.
Okay.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's what we're thinking of.
Okay, great.
To fulfill, you know,
Yeah. No, it was a success last time.
yeah, I think everybody enjoyed it.
Yes, I think so.
And everybody got to tell us a bit about what they do too,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like Mike and
Mhm.
his programs
Yeah.
and, you know, it's nice to be able to interact and,
Nice to meet the IT guy.
Mhm.
yeah.
What's his
Yeah.
name again?
Jerome.
Jerome. Okay, old business professional development, that's okay because we're talking about doing that. I will send out an email asking people preferences. And, I don't want to mention names or anything here, but, John and Nakula and Netta, I don't know if you're interested, but I did send out in the email message about a contribution you might want to make. That's totally up to you.
Mhm.
Yes.
We collected $25 now, that's fine. If you want to, that's fine too. If not,
Yeah, that's fine.
I generally don't do that if I don't know the person.
okay, that's fine.
I'll leave it when I come in on Wednesday,
Okay, sure.
hopefully.
I'll do the
Alright.
same.
What'd you say, John?
I'll do the same.
Okay, that'd be nice. All right, so, that would give us 35, that's good. Thank you, everyone. I think it will be a nice gesture that would be appreciated by his family. So we don't need a good and welfare. Anybody got?
Oh, I thought you said we don't need a good one.
I was
Why
going
not?
I'm looking down the list here and I'm thinking, well, we don't need a motion to adjourn. And then I said, oh, there's good and welfare. How's the new baby? Valerie,
Valerie's doing well.
that's good.
She's 3 weeks old now.
Wow.
Gained about a pound. Doesn't cry. The funny thing about her is she loves music, but she really loves Barry Manilow.
Mom and dad getting
Puts her
any
right
sleep?
out.
Just say that.
Try her out on Leonard Cohen. I had a cat that loved Leonard Cohen. If I would listen to it, the cat climbed into my lap.
Cat has good taste.
Our kids love Gershwin.
Yeah, yeah. But somehow there was something soothing about like a bird on a wire. And the other goods and welfare.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, happy holidays and
Kwanzaa.
Happy everything.
Yes.
Happy and healthy.